Okay, so I think your friend has to be. Give me just 1 minute, okay? I think a couple of people are waiting on the group, so let me accept their request as well. But in the meantime, you guys feel free to, you know, translate this sentence into. Translate this sentence into Hindi. So folks should have access to the live link now because I pretty much everyone. Okay, it's a simple sentence. UK is separating from EU. So let's see if some of you were able to. Okay. So first thing, let's start with the verb. Maybe that will help you, right? So when to separate is alag hona, alag hona, and you see there's a form of to be word hona, and the way you write alag is and then la and then alag hona, right? And then whenever there's a sense of any continuous tense, you will say हो रहा है, हो रही है, हो रहे हैं, right? I hope this should be straightforward for you guys now. Okay. Okay. So I'll write down the answer. So we'll take this word, and it would be UK EU से अलग हो रहा है, right? So basically UK EU से अलग हो रहा है. UK is separating from the EU, right? We use say because whenever there's a sense of separation, you use the postposition say, right? Uh, so I think some of you were using another postposition. The correct postposition is say. It's used in multiple occasions. Like मैं आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ. I'm speaking with you. So whenever there's a sense of with, or whenever there's a sense of separation, right? Even when you're saying or making a sentence like company A, any company, right? And company A B से अलग हो रही है. Company is feminine, right? Even then you will say you will use the postposition say, which is from. Okay, so I hope this one is straightforward. Let's jump on other scenarios now. In the meantime, as I said, feel free to use the. I'm not seeing too much of participation on the YouTube, or not on the YouTube. I mean the Facebook one. So I want to make sure this is coming properly. If you guys don't mind, try to be on there to see that it is active or not. If not, I'm going to start that again. Okay, I see people now, so I think it should be good. Good. Okay, so now we'll jump on other scenarios regarding Brexit. The next one I have is people voted for a British or UK exit. So what I did pretty much, I went through the news articles and I selected some of the sentences and I thought, we'll use them in our class. So next sentence you will see is people voted for a British exit. For some of you, it should be straightforward. For some of you, you see there is a past indefinite here. And past indefinite was always kind of like a challenging one for us because either you will say, you can make sentences like I used to eat, मैं खाता था, or the other one would be where you will use a post position, right? Whenever you say I used to eat, uh, usually those are sentences are easy, like मैं खाता था versus I ate, where you say मैंने खाया, right? Now, if you look at this sentence, it's basically this phenomena, I ate, right? Now, even here also, whenever you are kind of making sentence into past indefinite, you look at the verb, what kind of verb that is, whether it's a transitive verb or intransitive verb. Remember that, right? If the verb is transitive, you will be using the postposition ne. If it is not transitive, it is intransitive, then you'll not be using the verb ne, right? In this case, to vote or to cast a vote, it's a transitive verb, right? So that's why we'll be using ne after our pronoun, right? So with that in mind, let's see if you can, break it down. You can decompose the sentence and come up with the Hindi sentence, right? So when you, and I'll help you decompose it. So first, people is log. When you're talking about multiple people, you can say बहुत से लोग or just log here. And then, as I said, it's a transitive verb. So somewhere he will be writing a postposition called ne. Okay. Okay. Uh, to vote, if you were to translate that into word, it would be vote dena. Vote, and this is dena. Now, because it's a past tense, you will be changing the word dena to something else. Okay. So that's basically the scenario here. So try it one more time. Okay, very good. Oh, really? So let's see. I think there is some problem with the Facebook. Let me start that again. Okay, I'll start it again and then. Alright, so we are live as always. You can share your comment. Give me just 1 minute and then I'll start the Facebook thing again. But in the meantime, you try to convert that sentence into Hindi. So we'll go live now. Hopefully this should be much seamless experience this time. So let me know if this is clear. You can watch it. And this time I put the live on the Hindi group, so more people can join. Okay. So hopefully this should be seamless now. Okay. So if you cannot try, that's completely fine because it may be a, it's this is even for people who are slightly advanced, it could be a difficult topic, right? So first thing is you can learn people in general. You refer to them as log, right? Um, this, and then you're using a postposition called ne because to vote is a transitive verb, right? And whenever you're using a transitive verb in the past tense, you will use a postposition ne. Right? So you'll say logo ne. If I'm simply saying people voted, right? Or if I'm simply saying I voted, I will say मैंने vote, and then देना becomes the conjugative will be दिया, right? So मैंने vote दिया, as simple as that. मैंने vote दिया, I voted. When I'm saying people voted, you will say लोगों ने vote दिया, लोगों ने vote दिया, right? Now you have to use this particular small part. You have to fit this part into the sentence. People, if you simply say people voted, लोगों ने vote दिया, right? People voted for a British exit, right? For in Hindi is के लिए. If you remember that, or if you do not, if you're new, it's के लिए. It's again another postposition, के लिए, के लिए. Okay, people voted for British exit. So now the way you will fit this into the current sentence, लोगों ने, you will pretty much put it here, British. I'm just trying to put it in English so that way the structure remains simple for you. लोगों ने British exit के लिए वोट दिया. Okay, and if you want to keep it even more simpler, if you want to write the entire thing in Hindi, you can do that too, right? And I'm going to do that one more time. लोगों ने, and then now I'm going to write everything in Hindi. ब्रिटेन के अलग होने, this one is a bit difficult, right? के लिए वोट दिया. Okay, so I'll break it down again for you, so don't worry if it's becoming difficult, right? Start with very simple. People voted, लोगों ने वोट दिया. As simple as that, right? मैंने वोट दिया, आपने वोट दिया, and you can make variations of that, like क्या आपने वोट दिया? Did you cast your vote, right? Okay. Now लोगों ने, if imagine a scenario where you're saying लोगों ने, people voted in Britain, right? In Britain would be in Britain में. If the sentence was that, you can say लोगों ने Britain में वोट दिया, right? But this is a bit more complicated sentence, right? So that's why you're saying लोगों ने Britain के, separation of Britain. That's why it's Britain के. And then अलग होने के लिए, for separation, right? That's why you have two things here. लोगों ने Britain के अलग होने के लिए वोट दिया. So let me see if you have any questions here, or if it is, if it is difficult, feel free to write it down. Which part is not very clear, and I'm gonna give you the answer of that. In the meantime, I'm hoping now people should be able to join on the. So I see a lot of people joining on the Facebook Live as well. Definitely have all the comments there as well. Feel free to write down as many comments as possible there. Okay. So one of the comments is the syntax, looks like a little bit like Turkish language. So okay, good to know that. So next one I have is, I think that should be pretty simple now. The third kind of sentences that I have, again, it's going to be past indefinite for the most part in this lecture. So next one I have is pound, fell. Okay, or you can even say stock market fell. So let's see, you know, if you can write these sentences in Hindi. Simple sentence, you can say that these are past indefinite. Again, okay. And to give you a simple hint to fall, the word for that is girna. That's a word in Hindi. Uh, the way you write it in Devanagari is like you have a g with small e, r, and then you have a na with a, girna. Now, to give you another hint, to fall, it's not a transitive verb, right? So you will not be using a postposition ne here, right? If I'm saying I fell, it would be main gira, okay? If I'm saying you fell down. It's like aap gire, okay? And if I'm saying like us, all of us, like we fell, it'll be hum gire. So take your time, look at these sentences. First is the pound fell, and the second one is stock market fell. So let's see if you can, based on the given scenario, if we can translate this into Hindi. Okay, very good. Any more participant here? I'm getting some responses on the first one. It's simple, as some of you took the cue. And the first one is where you're taking the name of the currency, pound, and then you're saying gira, gira. Okay. Second one is also simple. You can say stock market, and you can say gira. And the way you write it in Devanagari is G with E, and then stock market, gira. Right? There are other ways to say that as well, like gir gaya, etc. But I'm going to keep it simple, so that it's not too difficult for you. Okay, so I hope this is clear. I'm gonna give some quizzes to you based on the structure to see if we can, just to make sure if we can conjugate the word properly. So give me 1 minute and I'm gonna give you a quiz here. Okay, my book, simple, right? My book fell down. Only slight variation. So far, pound and stock market they were masculine. Book is considered feminine. So, so that's the only change. Otherwise, everything is straightforward. So that's a quiz. Take the sentence and try to convert the sentence into Hindi. And for folks who are advanced, you can write the entire thing into the Devanagari as well. Okay. So my book, मेरी किताब, मेरी किताब, मेरी because it's feminine, right? If you remember it, based on the object, you will decide whether you use mera or meri, right? मेरी मम्मी, मेरी sister, मेरी bike, right? मेरी school, all of them are feminine. That's why it's meri. Um, Unlike English, where you always have my book, my mom, my dad. In Hindi it changes based on what you're saying after that, right? In Hindi it's either meri, mera, or mere. For masculine plural it's mere. Mera is mera, mera bhai, mera laptop, mera pen. Okay, so again here, because it's feminine, even to fell is girna, right? To fall is girna, but because it's either you will say gira, giri, or gire, right? If your object is basically masculine singular, it's gira. If your object is feminine singular or plural, it's giri. If it is masculine plural, it's gire. Okay. Uh, so similarly, so in this case, because it's book is feminine, it's giri. Meri kitab giri. Okay. The same sentence, if if I replace book with laptop, now you tell me how this structure will change. And laptop is masculine, and I'm really waiting to get response from all of you, because now it should be pretty simple. My laptop fell down. So my laptop fell down. Let's see. Okay, awesome. Let me see if there are any responses on the. Okay. So as you guys rightly pointed out, in this case, because laptop is masculine, you will be using first pronoun called mera. Okay, it's not, and then you'll be saying mera laptop. You can just call it laptop, mera laptop. And now, because it's masculine singular, you will say mera laptop, gira. Okay, so the intent of this structure is to basically, um, you know, any sentence or anything that you heard about Brexit, if something it fell down or it like increased, you should be using this structure to kind of like translate them into Hindi. Okay, so the next one is I'm going to just make a variation of the pound fell down. Pound fell from its current level, so the first part remains the same, pound gira. Only thing that we are adding in the sentence is from its current level, right? Notice the use of its, right? uh, Let me see if you guys can think of, like, whenever we had, like, you're talking about pound, the it is referring to basically pound here, right? So you will be using apna, apne, or apni, one of those, right? Because it's a masculine. Sorry, you'll be using, yeah, it's masculine. You'll be using some form of apna. Okay, very good, very good. So one of the translation is pound अपने current level से गिरा. Awesome, right? So let's write it down so that will be much easier. Pound अपने level से, either you can say नीचे, because it's down, नीचे गिरा, right? It becomes upname because there is a use of postposition called say. Okay, otherwise it's अपना, right? So pound अपने level से नीचे गिरा. Now, how do you say level in Hindi? You can say stir, half sir, the, and the. And the way it will be basically, think of it as like don't read it as I star, but read it as stir. So think of it as like half stir, stir. Okay. Where most of people write gira, right? Right. So for folks who just joined, Facebook Live, we meet every Sunday at 10 a.m. We take a new topic every time. This time the topic is the current political event Brexit, and we are taking some sample sentences and then trying to convert them into Hindi. Okay. Now I'm going to continue. The format is still simple and same. That most of the sentences are in past indefinite. The next one I have is uh, which is David Cameron resigned. Okay, simple sentence. Past indefinite. You can see, right? To give you a hint, I can tell you to resign. I can tell you like the way to resign is istifa dena. Istifa dena, and it's a transitive verb used in the past tense. And the way you write in Devanagari, you write e, half sir, the with e, and then with a. Istifa dena, to give a resignation. So try it, and I'm gonna simplify it for you. Okay, to resign is istifa dena. It's used in the past indefinite tense, and it's a transitive word. Okay, so the comment is it's the word is same in Turkish also. In Turkish is istifa etmek. Okay, simple, nice. Okay, so I'm going to give you opportunity to translate the sentence into. Maybe you can translate that into Turkish also to see how that comes out in Turkish. Okay. So even etmek, you're conjugating it in Turkish also. It changes. David Cameron istifa etti. Okay, good, good. So the way you say it is, and resignation in Hindi is again everything has a gender associated, right? So it's a masculine, right? So when I say I resigned, it'll be मैं, and then remember I told you that there will be postposition called name because to resign is a transitive verb, right? And it's used in the past sentence. So मैंने, and then I'll say istifa, and then will be diya. It's not the one with the light. It's diya, dena. Dena becomes diya, right? If it is feminine, it's di. If it is plural, masculine plural, it's da. Right? So the complete sentence would be मैंने इस्तीफा दिया, right? Because in this case, uh, it's David Cameron. You'll say David कैमरॉन ने इस्तीफा दिया. Okay. You can make several sentences correspondingly, right? I mean, you know, such as sentences like did he resign? So imagine that this scenario was that, like, we are talking about a different scenario, right? I mean, and then you're asking someone like, did he resign or did she resign after something like happened, right? So let's say if you can translate this sentence into Hindi, did he resign or did she resign? I'm just making sure that we can not only do affirmative sentence, we can also do interrogative sentences as well. Okay, very good. Okay, so straightforward, as you said. In interrogative, क्या he or she उसने इस्तीफा दिया? Question mark, right? The reason we are using usne because it's as I taught few classes ago. In this case, it's whenever you have he or she is vah, right, and it's used with ne, right, and vah plus ne becomes usne. Okay? क्या उसने इस्तीफा दिया? Very good. Okay, awesome. Any questions so far? While I'm going over the lecture, let's see if there are any more questions here from anyone. Feel free to write down your questions or comments. Okay, so now I'm gonna still make similar sentences here, and then hopefully it should be 52% people voted for exit. 52% people voted for exit. Something similar we did just now, but I thought I'll still give you more practice here. That's right. So the question is like, in general, so the slight tangent here, when I say what is your name, right? It's basically आपका नाम क्या है, right? क्या is used here. It's referring to what, right? It's referring what. Whenever kya is used at the beginning of the sentence, right? क्या आपने खाना खाया, right? Whenever kya is used at the beginning of the sentence, you're asking a yes or no question. And in this case, you are saying, did you eat? Okay. So whenever kya is used, at the beginning of the sentence, like somebody is asking you a yes or no question. Right. So again, coming back to this one, like 52% people voted for exit. Straightforward, 52% लोगों ने अलग होने के लिए वोट दिया. Okay, so interesting thing here was alag hona, as I said, is to separate, to get separated, and then you're using ke liye, right? Ke liye is for, okay, for, as I said before, aapke liye for you, mere liye for me, hamare liye is for us, right? Alag hone ke liye for separation, right? So in this case is alag hona plus ke liye, and that's why it become alag hone ke liye, right? अलग होने के लिए वोट दिया. Now another question was like, how do you say vote in Hindi? Vote in Hindi is nothing but mat. You know, mat, right? Mat dena is also called vote. Mat dena can also mean like to not give. But in this case, like it's the same, it's a homonym, right? So it has two meanings. Like mat dena is to give vote or to cast your vote, or like it also means like to not give something. Like so, for example, um, उसे किताब मत देना, like do not give him or her your book, उसे किताब मत देना, right? Or apple मत खाना, do not eat apple, right? Or how do I say, uh, anything basically, any dish, like samosa mat khana, like do not eat samosa. Or especially moms, like if they're cooking something, they'll say khana bahar mat khana, do not eat outside, I have cooked something at home, right? So that's also means mat. You can say insan. Insan is again derived from Urdu. In general in Hindi you'll say janta or log. Casually you will say log. Formally you will say janta. So let's see if more people have any questions on the YouTube or Facebook. Okay. Now opposite to that is like opposite to that is what. And then let's see. So far we're talking about this part. Now let's talk about the other scenario. 48% people voted to stay in EU, or to stay with you, EU. So I'm going to just convert it myself. Please try on your own as well. Okay. So in this case, 48% लोगों ने लोगों ने. First, I'll write it down. Then I'm gonna decompose the sentence for you. साथ में रहने साथ में रहने के लिए वोट दिया. Okay. So try to read it a couple of times, and then I'm gonna decompose the sentence for you. Okay. So again, if we were to just look at it like we did, 48% लोगों ने वोट दिया, right? If the sentence was simply like this, 48% लोगों ने वोट दिया, that means like the voting percentage was only 48%, like 48% of the entire population voted, right? 48% लोगों ने वोट दिया. Um, you know, or let's say if the sentence is like 48% लोगों ने, forget about this part and this part, and if I say 48% लोगों ने मेरे लिए वोट दिया, let's say if I'm a politician, I'm not, but like let's say 48% लोगों ने मेरे लिए वोट दिया, it means like 48% of the entire population they voted for me, or people who casted vote, out of 40% of those voted for me, right? मेरे लिए वोट दिया. Or if you are my leader, and if I'm telling you or reading you a story, and if I'm telling you 48% लोगों ने आपके लिए वोट दिया, that 40 different people voted for you. Now in this case, साथ में रहना, साथ में रहने के लिए वोट दिया. Now this is not a person or something, but this is like the the issue or the topic here, that they voted to stay together. साथ में रहने के लिए वोट दिया, right? And the way you write in Devanagari, it's with a, साथ में रहना, to stay together, साथ में रहना, right? If I were to say, let's say, मैं पेरेंट्स के साथ रहता हूँ, that means I stay with my parents. Okay. If I say मैं पेरेंट्स के साथ नहीं रहता हूँ, I do not stay with my parents. So let me spend some more time here because I want to write it down so it's easier, because sometimes I speak very fast, right? So if the sentence is मैं, I, friends के साथ रहता हूँ. If I say मैं friends के साथ रहता हूँ, that means I stay with my friends. Okay. Okay. मैं friends के साथ रहता हूँ. Simple, right? And the reason we switch from here to here, because I wanted to kind of give you the feel of साथ में रहना. How do you use that independently? Okay. Let's see if there are any questions or anything. Okay. Right. Now, so as I said, like I just took some news articles and I thought we'll translate that into Hindi. I do not have any political opinion whether it's good or bad, because I do not live in UK or in Europe. So so this is the intent of this lecture, is simply to translate the sentences, right? So don't take it personally if the news article is not, it doesn't align with your opinion. So the next sentence is like immigration could become difficult. So the next type of sentences that will be converting, it's basically use of could, might, can, any kind of modals basically, right? That you say in English, right? So in Hindi it would be sakna, the use of sakna, sakta, right? So when I say uh, it might rain, in English it might be there will be difference between might and may. Now here Hindi can it becomes simpler, right? I mean, in English there's a difference between it might rain versus it may rain. In Hindi it's all like बारिश हो सकती है. So you just took the word hona and you took the ho from it and you said बारिश हो सकती है. Okay. Or snow गिर सकती है, snow can fall, right? I mean, or simple things like uh, it might flood like बाढ़ आ सकती है, right? So you can see the use of sakna, right? And even sakna we conjugated the word, and because barish is feminine, you said बारिश आ सकती है, right? um, or train आ सकती है, the train might come. Okay, so now coming back to the sentence here, the sentence is immigration could become difficult. So if you don't know the how do you say immigration in Hindi, that's fine, you can use it as it is, immigration. um, uh, right now just try to translate this part, the sentence into Hindi, that immigration could become difficult, and I'll try to see, you know, I'll try to see if your understanding is correct. Or even, the earlier sentences like, pound could fall, right? Or stock market could, you know, could fall. You can consider those scenarios as well. So this one is a bit difficult, but try it. Let me know what's tricky in this sentence so I can help it out. I'll help you out. Okay. So difficult is mushkil in Hindi. Mushkil. So you have a ma with u, half shell, k with e, mushkil. Okay. Good try. Try with mushkil. Okay. No, no. This was just an example. Barish was rain. Okay. So immigration मुश्किल मुश्किल हो सकता है. Okay, immigration मुश्किल हो सकता है. So the ho will come after मुश्किल होना, right? मुश्किल हो सकता है. If you want to write immigration also in Hindi, it's अप्रवास. So it will be अप्रवास. अप्रवास. अप्रवास मुश्किल हो सकता है. Okay, so let me make a slight change here, right? As opposed to immigration could become difficult, let's say immigration policies could become strict. Okay, the reason is immigration is masculine, policy is feminine. So let's see how this sentence will change now. So I'm going to give you the chance to first write it down. Strict is सख्त. 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 So the sentence is more or less the same. Only thing would be here, you will changing the sentence from a masculine written sentence to a feminine one, right? Okay. Good job there. So in this case, it would be immigration policies, policies, and then instead of mushkil, you will say either you can say strict or you can simply say sakt, and then as opposed to sakta hai, you will simply say ho सकती है. Immigration policy सख्त हो सकती है. And policies is nothing but नीतियां. You probably have heard of this name as well, right? Uh, it's a common Hindi name, niti, right? So one policy is niti and plural is nitiya, nitiya, right? So immigration policy, immigration नीतियां सख्त हो सकती है और अप्रवास की नीतियां सख्त हो सकती है. Okay, so I hope I hope this is making sense. It's not too difficult. Um, I'll just write down one more sentence and then I'll take any questions you may have. One more sentence because a lot of you use that. Import, export could be impacted. Could be impacted. So a lot of the sentence, if you think about it, like we've never studied import and then never studied export and then impact, right? So import is basically, some of you tried it. Good thing. It's basically ayat, right? And then export is niryat, right? So the way you write it is ya, the, and then this one is niryat. So there is a half r on top of ya, niryat, right? There are many words for impact, but I'm going to use a simple one. आयात निर्यात पे असर हो सकता है. You see, the later part is same for all of them. Whenever we are talking about this could happen, that could happen, like हो सकता है, हो सकती है, और हो सकते हैं. So that part remains the same, right? So that was the intent of like coming up with some of the other sentence. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give you some two go home exercises so that way you can you can prepare them. In this case, I'll just probably have uh, not many. I'm just gonna give you one or two. So hypothetically, this is your homework quizzes basically. Uh, other countries could, and this is just a hypothetical scenario, right? Could separate as well. That's number one. Interest rate, again just call it interest rate in Hindi as well. Interest rate could increase or increase or decrease. So I'm just going to give you two sentences. So write it down and then tell me if you can convert these sentences and sentences in Hindi. So what we'll do now is like I'll stop the Facebook live. Folks who joined, thank you so much. Please join again next Sunday as well. We'll try to take a simple topic. I understand this was a bit um, bit of an experiment because I wanted to cover something more relevant. Um, so so definitely share your ideas about what we can do next Sunday. I always prefer to take a topic which is rather simpler, but this time I thought we'll do some experiment, which I think for the most part, if we remove some of the technical difficulties, I think it was overall at least we covered something nice, right? We learned how to write like sentences in past indefinite, or similarly how to write how to cover sentences that have like modals in it, like can, could, may, and might. So it's still helpful. I hope you also learned something interesting. So I'll stop the broadcasting and I'm gonna take questions or comments from